Board of Commissioners. That's it. That's really disappointed in my effect. Everybody needs doctors. I am just really disappointed in this big effort. The request to set aside $500,000 from ARPA would be a start, but short of our goal. Mayor Robertson did receive correspondence this past Monday that IEM has elevated our $4 million request to a higher level, and we may be receiving requests for additional information from both the city and the hospital to support our request. So again, I'm just hoping the budget committee, we went through that on the use of the ARPA money. I believe it qualifies for that. It's due to medical needs of the COVID. Here we just lost a good representative on the Regional Planning Commission because he's working 24/7. They can't get nobody in here. The proposal here was to have the budget committee please allocate $500,000 if we don't get the money from ARPA from the state.
I would like to make a motion to approve Jim's request, that item.
Okay, we have a motion, we have a second.
I'll second.
Second.
I guess I have a couple questions on this. So say we do accept this, which I'm not saying it's a bad idea, but would this kind of hinder their $4 million ask right now? If the state heard about this and went, okay, City of Ely has it covered, so they really don't need that money.
I guess I don't understand your question, because Heather from that IEM, she asked us, you guys have all your plans together? We go, yeah. But when you have one entity wanting $300 million in Ely, how far do you think $2.6 million is going to go? My idea of the $500,000, the hospital has said they could contribute some money into it too. But, you know, they're strapped because they couldn't do it the first time because of David's bacon expense. So that's the whole push is, again, $2.6 billion where people are asking for $300 million just in a little tiny city. There are 63 plus people asked. You know, there are several asks for $8 million for housing. You know, they lump them together. I mean, it's the same thing, but it gets down right. So I guess your question is, by asking us to put $500,000 off to the side, they don't know. Even IEM, you know, are they going to say, hey, the city, just don't give them the money, is what you're saying? They got 500,000. Well, then we only need 3.5 million.
True. So is the request to have the budget committee run this through McKay and the accounting firm to make sure that there's a way to do it, or is it just to make an allocation and put that in the package?
Well, I think we probably have to, I mean, we want the warm and fuzzy that's going to be legal to do it. But I think when we went this proposal, Ed and I looked at this, and it was critical for housing for medical personnel due to, we're shipping patients out because we don't have enough staff housing to keep professionals in town. We had one takeoff, had to finally found a place for this person last year in the state of Washington. We don't have no housing is the problem.
How does this, because wouldn't we have to make some changes to the current code to place these on that property, or is it already zoned for something like that?
No, that's the continuation of the rest of these.
So did you want to open up all of these before we vote on this so that we can address that, or do you want to open them all individually?
Let's bring it back because the process between the building inspector and the attorney, this whole thing might just take a dive.
Okay, so
Does anybody know if White Pine County chipped in anything on this project out of their AARP money?
As far as I know, nothing. The hospital, talking to Matt, he says they could possibly come up with some funding. And we're just, you know, off the cuff talking, he says there may be individuals who may want to contribute, but we haven't solicited. I mean, we sent letters out. We got nothing back. So people either don't care or, what's the big deal? You know, and it's really disappointing. It's disheartening.
Councilman Spear, do you mind if we suspend your motion for a moment while we address these other items and then come back to this one?
I'm not going to amend my motion because I think it's necessary. We can call this an earmark just in case, but I do believe that it's
not amend, yeah, just suspend so that we can address some of the zoning issues about this and then come back and address it after we address these other two items. Is that okay? Or would you rather vote on this right now?
I'm okay with that. Let's go, how about you, Jim?
So we'll suspend that motion and discussion for a moment and continue on with item 5. Councilman Allworth, discussion for possible action, direct city attorney to amend Ely City Municipal Code to allow tiny homes or park model RVs to be used for affordable housing within the city limits.
Okay, this is a lot shorter read. Tiny homes didn't even exist when our city codes were wrote and approved years ago. The time has come to get on board with the rest of the country when it comes to affordable housing. There are several communities that have tiny home villages and are very successful with CC&Rs in place. There are many companies building and selling these type of homes. I believe if we don't make the change to the codes, the future of affordable housing opportunities within the city limits will cripple the city's growth. So that's why the direction is we get the attorney to work on that. I mean, there's down by Colorado City, and there's a housing there. I believe in Southern Nevada, there's many tiny home housing. It's not like reinventing the wheel, but we got to do something. Our codes, we know right now, they're outdated. Tiny homes, people probably thought they were birdhouses if you talk to them, but we just got to do something, or we're going to be out of housing. You know, we have a member of the public say there is no housing.
Are those communities you're talking about, are they stick-built tiny homes, or are they towed in somewhere?
In one of those papers I handed out to you.
Is this one?
Yeah, that right there, that's up in Winnemucca. That's the Park, whatever we call them, Park View, that's up in Winnemucca. And as you read at the bottom, there, tiny homes aren't actually owned, some are built to the code requirements for travel trailers. Athens Park Model RVs are all built to rigorous codes. Well, that's a building department thing right there. We gotta get something going where there's a Park View, or the ones that, I believe BJ visited one on a quick trip. Other residents of the city looked through them and seen them. As we get into the next items, you know, we'll discuss a little farther than that. So that's, my main point there is, we just gotta get in the 21st century with our city codes. Tiny homes are here forever.
Craig, did you have some input on this? On the zone, municipal
I would
code?
like to move to approve this item.
Well, we've got Craig coming up. Can we ask you to hold a motion for a minute?
Sure, I can't see what's going on there. Okay.
You're running blind. It's okay. What would be required in the code to do?
So according to the zoning ordinances in the city of Ely, tiny homes are currently permitted. Appendix Q of the 2018 IRC,
Now,
which is
when you say tiny homes, are
Tiny
we talking
home.
a stick-built small home?
Tiny homes are stick-built homes built to the currently adopted building code. So those are allowed in all of our zonings right now. And we can actually build them in the R250 zones based on an ordinance that was passed years ago that allowed any lot that was non-conforming, but designated prior to 1986. There are no minimum lot size requirements for those zones. We have some of those in Murray Canyon, some up here, and some in Central Ely. As far as the park models, that's where it gets a little bit complicated. The state codes require that any time those are occupied for 30 days or longer, they be classified as mobile homes, which require different strapping, setting on foundations and or strapping, protection from the wind, and then there's some interconnection to utility requirements that go along with that. Now, further complicate that, Housing and Urban Development in 2018 issued a clarifying order that said that HUD has no jurisdiction over RVs because they're built to a different standard. So state law hasn't exactly caught up with HUD's latest determination as far as their jurisdiction. But as it stands right now, if a park model RV were to be used as a permanent home, theoretically it could be done. The engineering for the strapping would be required, and then, but the real complication comes with the utility tie-in because state law requires a placard to be placed on the RV. The placards that we have currently from Housing and Urban Development require serial numbers, and the serial numbers are only applied to the houses that are built to the HUD standards, not the ones that are built to the RV standards.
Is this ANSI, that's an RV standard?
Correct.